Hello, this is Mike at Gamefromscratch, and welcome to This Week in Game Dev. This is week 8 for the week of January the 9th. Now, This Week in Game Dev is all about recapping the events that happened in the world of game development. And we're coming out of the holidays still, so things are still a little bit slow, but I think they're starting to pick up a bit. So there was one major announcement this week, I'll cover it last, and a couple of other, significant announcements in the world of game development, so let's jump right in. Now, once again, I'm going to link all these stories down below in the comments, so if you want to read more, just scroll down below, click the link, you can head over to Gamefromscratch and read the full thing. So let's start right off. The first thing this week was Play Canvas, a popular HTML5 game engine, added Spine support via a plugin. Now, Spine is a 2D animation, bone-based animation system for 2D graphics. And it's got plugins for many game engines. And now Play Canvas has added that support as well. Completely free. Like I said, it's added as a plugin. Next up, actually, Spine was written using libgdx, but libgdx released version 1.8 this week. The biggest part of this move was by far and away, they moved to the LWJGL3 backend. They've been waiting on this one for a while now, because LWJGL, which is lightweight GL graphics. Anyways, it's a lightweight wrapper over OpenGL, OpenAL, and a couple of other game. So it provides graphics input, etc., functionality for game engines, and for the desktop targets, libgdx is built over top of it, and it's had a lot of shoddiness when it comes to desktop support. So now that we've moved to the LWJGL3 backend, we now have in libgdx much better multi-monitor support, full screen support, multiple window support, etc. And as you can see by this big list in front of you, there are a number of other major changes for this release as well. So this is the most significant libgdx release in a very long time. So there's a lot of nice new stuff in there. Now the LWJGL, God, I'm sick of saying that, backend is 1 week old. Not the most tested thing in the world, so there be dragons. Warning there. So if you're going to adopt this, expect a little bit of rocky roads. Read the release notes for sure. They talk about some of the potential pain points. Another major thing that's actually added is the support for high definition monitors is finally in there. Works incredibly well on Mac. Works well on mobile targets, works iffy on Windows. So check that out for more details. Another thing that happened, there was a pair of HTML5 announcements this week, and the first one was the release of Superpowers. Now, the Superpowers game engine is completely open source now. It's all about collaborative game making, HTML5. I'm going to look into it probably in a little bit more detail in the future, but definitely one worth checking out. Sources are now available on GitHub. I can't really do it justice. Go in, watch the video. There's a quick demo here. If you go through to it, you can see what Superpowers is all about. I haven't got the chance to really jump in that detailed with it yet. But again, it's all about collaborative web development of games. So that Superpowers was released this week. Tiled, the popular tile-based level editor, which actually works with more than just tiles, but so I guess we can just call it the popular open source level editor, released version 0.15 this week. The biggest thing in it was actually increased stability when resources or assets were missing, and the ability to delete or handle assets that are not there. It's not really the sexiest of changes, but it is definitely a functional one. A couple other things they've added as well, plugins, the ability to turn them on and off, and an updated status bar, the ability to quickly change through your layers. And a couple of other smaller changes you can see. Allowed loading of maps, broke references, as I just mentioned. Blah, blah, blah. You can see right here what the complete list is. But the biggest ones definitely there are handling external references that are missing well, and the plugin toggling, and the status bar change. Finally, the other HTML5 news this week was the release of the QICI engine. It actually came out a week or two ago. They just released 1.05, but 1.0 was within the month they added it as well. I was unaware of this one. It is an HTML5 game engine and tool set built over top of the Phaser library, which in turn is built over top of the Pixie renderer. Now, I love Phaser. And to be honest, I checked out QICI the day I posted this, so, yesterday. And I just spent the day playing with it. It's awesome. Expect comments soon. It's a really cool experience. I'm going to be doing a closer look at video for it very shortly, because I normally have to spend a couple weeks getting these things up to speed, and this thing I was pretty much up to speed the next day. It's very intuitive. Again, it's also built over top of an engine that I know and love, so that made it a bit easier, but this is a very impressive product. If you're working in the HTML5 game space, you owe it to yourself to check out QICI. As I said, it's built over top of Phaser, and it is staggeringly well polished. So that impressed the hell out of me. Now, finally, the biggest news of the week, and probably the things that everybody was most excited for, the Oculus Rift shipped. Well, it didn't ship, but it started selling in pre-order. And the question that everyone was waiting for was answered. How much is the Rift going to cost? And the answer is $600 US. And if your jaw hit the floor, yes, so did mine. The Lucky Palmer, the guy that actually started Oculus, kind of let it slip a couple of months back that he expected the price to be about $300. And people actually had that expectation. So when it comes out that it's double the expected price, I think the world is all pretty staggered. Now, on top of it, I'm actually pretty anti-Rift now, which is ironic because I absolutely love the Gear VR, but finding out that it doesn't work with Optimus laptops and that it only supports this very, very small subset of machines, and then it's got a $600 price tag, I am suddenly an HTC/Steam Vive supporter. So I'm hoping the Vive works out really well, because at $600, the Oculus Rift, I don't know if they just shot themselves in the foot, but on the topic of shooting themselves in the foot, and I'm not going to announce this one as news, because it's technically not, it's more of a rumor, but apparently Amazon.ca, so my home country, yay, they leaked the price, or they had a price point page up for Sony's upcoming PlayStation VR. And again, it's along the lines, it used to be called Project Morpheus. It's another VR headset system, but in this case, instead of needing a $1,500 desktop PC, you need a PlayStation 4. So, $300 starting cost versus $1,500 sounds good. Well, the leaked price, again in Canadian dollars, was $1,200. So they're guessing that in US funds, the PlayStation VR is going to retail for $800. And I just can't fathom that being the case. And I actually wrote a post about this. I'll link it down below as well. But HTC Vive has all the opportunity in the world right now, because do you remember back in 1995, and I'm dating myself here, but in E3 of 1995, Sega announced the price of the Saturn early. They came out and they said, it does this, it'll ship very, very soon, and it's $399. And then Sony came out and they did their press release for the PlayStation 1. And the guy walked up on stage and basically just goes, $299, and walked away. And they won. The crowd just roared to applause. And look at how the Sega Saturn turned out versus how the PlayStation turned out. And right now, HTC could pull that move. If they came out and said, our headset's $400 or our headset's $300, they just won. Because technically, they're both solid. People have been using hands-on for both the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, and we're hearing kind of from both people that it's very impressive technology. So the end consumer doesn't care. They do, however, care about a $600 price point and requirement for a $1,500 computer, or a $1,200 price point /800 in US fund for the PlayStation side of things. So HTC has so much of an opportunity right now, but unfortunately they've just been quiet. So that's leading me to believe that it's going to be expensive as well. And that's such a disappointment. But that is this week in news. So basically, we had a couple of engine releases, very impressive HTML5 engines in there. Check out libgdx 1.8, especially if you're working with libgdx. Play Canvas, adding spine support, new release of the tiled level editor, and of course the launch of pre-orders and the incredible price of the Oculus Rift. So if nothing else, it was definitely an interesting week. Keep an eye out, stay in tune next week. Hopefully we'll have even more exciting news. See y'all later. Bye.